to talk a little about Rogue One, a Star Wars story. Now, I know I've done a review, spoiler free. I want to talk a little bit about more the spoilers. It came out last night. I think a lot of people have seen it, so I think we have this opportunity. First off, I thought the movie was great. Second viewing, I'll be honest, one of the things that I noticed was I'm not sure I'm going to be watching this as many times as I watched The Force Awakens. Every time I watched The Force Awakens, it got better and I noticed new things. Last night, I realized I noticed new things, but at the same time, the pacing was just a little slow. And I kind of felt myself, And I don't know, I honestly don't know why. I don't know, I was just tired, bad day, don't know. But I just noticed I felt like, wow, after the first time, bang, I love this movie. Second time, still very much enjoyed it. That final battle scene is amazing. I think it's one of the best in Star Wars lore. The combination of the space battle with the ground battle, just phenomenal. But I don't know, the scenes leading up to it, everything leading up to it, I thought it was a little disjointed. And we had a lot to accomplish, and they tied it together. But to get there, I felt like maybe it was a little disjointed. But anyway, I still very much enjoyed it. I still love the opening where we have Ben Mendelsohn's character coming down and meeting up with Galen Erso, played by Mads Mikkelsen, who did a fantastic job. I'm very happy to see him doing well. I love the show Hannibal. Thought it got robbed by getting canceled. He did great in Doctor Strange. Obviously, he did great in Casino Royale. He's a great actor, and he does great here in that he's the villain. He's the guy that put the Death Star together, and that Ben Mendelsohn's character came to him to finish the project, but they couldn't get it done without him. So literally, Galen Erso doesn't do it. Death Star might not happen. He is convinced by losing his family that he has to do it. So he goes off and does it. And by that I mean his wife tried to stop Orson Krennic, and she died. And he knew his daughter Jin was out there, and he didn't want to risk it. So this is my interpretation. So he goes off and finishes the Death Star. But we get the answer to an age-old question of who puts an exhaust port on the Death Star that would be so easy to let it be destroyed. Well, we find out Galen did it on purpose so that the Alliance, the rebels, would have a chance against this weapon of mass destruction, so that they could destroy it. So it was awesome to sort of see that retconned. Well, okay, let's fix this problem, and they did. I thought that was fantastic. We see a lot of people return in this movie, and by that I mean several people that are in A New Hope are in this movie. And let's hit the big bad one first. Grand Moff Tarkin is in this movie, and when he first appears, I thought, oh man, we're just going to see this weird cameo of him talking and the reflection in the glass, because obviously Peter Cushing is no longer with us, and if he was, he would be so old, I don't think that could happen. But they did it digitally, and he's a major player in the movie, not just a bit piece with the reflection like I thought it might be. I was a little disappointed because I didn't think the CG is there yet. It really reminded me of Kevin Flynn from Tron Legacy, which is weird because that was 6 years ago, and we've had leaps and bounds in CG technology, but that did not look great. But it was great to have the character there. That was awesome. And it got me thinking that maybe ILM is in this training mode, like George Lucas had him going, that, you know what, we're going to put the film out, love it, we can fix it along the way as we get better technology. Just seeing how it's been since A New Hope and tinkering with every single movie that came out that was Star Wars related, that just made me think maybe that's what's going on. With that similar CG, we have Princess Leia. Yes, Princess Leia. It was awesome to see it. It was fantastic. But again, the CG just wasn't there. Didn't look great, which is, again, shocking for ILM, just the stuff they do. But it was awesome to see Princess Leia, and this is great because this is the denouement, the ending, and it leads right into A New Hope. I mean, right into it. It's fantastic. And that's one thing I really liked about this movie, is that we see everything that it took to get these plans, how they came together, and this band of rogues had nothing to do with each other, but they came together, and even at that, they defied what the Rebel Alliance wanted to do, and they went out on their own, which is where they get the name Rogue, and they accomplish it, and then they die. Everyone on Rogue One dies. Even K2SO who was the droid, dies. They're gone. So we feel the weight of that. So now A New Hope must succeed. We must get this Death Star, and it just puts more weight on that. And I thought it was fantastic that knowing that and watching A New Hope again after seeing Rogue One, just it felt heavier. Felt like this is more important. I thought that was very cool because most of the prequels we've gotten to the original movies have not really added, if not they've taken away. I mean, one of the things that really disappointed me, and there's no way to get around it, is the moment, the big reveal that I am your father. Well, it doesn't mean much because we know that. We've seen it. So you took away the importance of that moment. But when it came out, it was like, whoa, no way, that's amazing. So just things like that. But this one definitely added to that. Other cameos that were pretty fun. Ponda Baba, Walrus Face, or Walrus Man was in it, which cracked me up. And he was with his buddy, Dr. Death, Cornelius Evanson. It just cracked me up to see those two. It didn't take it away from the story. It was totally cheesy, but it was hilarious to see them. I thought that was funny. Early on, we have a cameo of the Blue Milk, which was, again, just funny. It's not taking it out of the story. It's just a little, hey, check that out, fanboy thing. If you didn't know, no big deal. Doesn't matter. One of my favorites was during the battle scenes. They have the Y-Wings and X-Wings coming in, and we have a Blue Squadron, which was awesome. But we see why there's no Blue Squadron in A New Hope. They did their job, but they got wiped out. But we have Red 5. Well, Red 5 didn't quite make it in Rogue One, which made me laugh because, well, there's an opening. Hey, there's this new kid, Luke. Hey, Luke, why don't you slide right in and you become Red 5? Which made me laugh because that's his call sign in A New Hope. We also see Gold Leader and Red Leader, which was awesome because they lifted scenes from A New Hope and put them right there in Rogue One. And I'm talking about Gold Leader starting our attack run. It's like, awesome. Copy, Gold Leader. Awesome. Like, these were literally lifted from the movie and it was fantastic. The one bad thing I wish they had done, it was a perfect opportunity to include Jack Porkins. Let's give him some redemption. To me, he's on par with Dengar in that there's these two characters that are in the Star Wars universe that supposedly are good at what they do and have had a history of it, and we haven't really seen it, especially in the films, and they just look like huge losers. Jack going up against the original Death Star, no fighters, just having laser cannons that he goes away by way of laser cannon, and to me it's embarrassing. But it would have been nice to see him. I did not see him. He might have a cameo somewhere that I just didn't know because there's a lot of stuff going on. The other one that was really cool and I was really afraid of because we saw it in the trailer was Darth Vader. I thought, oh my God, we're just going to see him in the back of the tank, or that one scene where he's just kind of talking to, we find out, Ben Mendelsohn, and it's just going to be not awesome. No. Wow. Like I said, this leads right into A New Hope, and Darth Vader gets badass. We haven't seen this Darth Vader in a long time, and it was fantastic to see. Loved it. Awesome. Awesome. We see the Dark Lord Sith. That was fantastic. We'd heard a lot about reshoots and all that going on, and I'm not exactly sure what they did, and a lot of times reshoots go on, and now I've read a couple articles comparing the trailers with what the actual footage was and seeing some of the differences in that. It looks like the end scene, the end battle, probably changed significantly. It looks like they may have changed Jyn Erso's character in that she was a little more snarky, and now they made her a tragic hero, basically. And she was played great by Felicity Jones. I really was impressed with her. I thought that character and the relationship with her dad was great because you see Galen basically just wants redemption for what he knows he's doing is bad, but he can't not do it or else he puts her in jeopardy. But she doesn't quite understand it because she's a kid, and it's totally great. But some of those scenes where they did reshoots, and again, Gareth Edwards did a fantastic job with this film, not taking anything away. In fact, I think the fact that there were problems on the film and you really didn't hear a disgruntled director or anything like that, more power to him. I know Tony Gilroy came in and did rewrites. I'm assuming he helped with the reshoots because he has been a director before. And I think you can tell because he's really well known with the Bourne franchise, the Bourne Identity, and Ultimatum, and all those. And it's just so awesome action heavy there in the battle that I feel like it just oomphed it up, and I think he probably had a lot to do with that. That's not to take away from Chris Weitz, who wrote the screenplay I love, About a Boy. That's one he wrote. Just a fantastic writer. I think Tony Gilroy came in and pumped it up a little bit and gave it more oomph. That's just my guess. And maybe corrected some of the early screenings. From what I heard, they corrected some of the character arcs and I guess made them more likable. Speaking of which, the team of rogues, led by Jyn Erso, Felicity Jones, Diego Luna, fantastic. I not really familiar with his Spanish films, but his American film, Open Range, I know he doesn't have a huge part, but I loved him in that. I thought he was great. I liked that movie. But hearing he got cast, cool. Watching him, fantastic. He did a great job. He's the Alliance captain of intelligence who basically brings these rogues together, and then Jyn leads them on, and he then becomes a major cog, but it's fantastic. But my favorite, I think everybody's new favorite droid is K2SO, voiced by Alan Tudyk. Just hilarious, but he's not meaning to be hilarious. He just says what's on his mind. Reprogrammed Imperial droid is just beautiful, and he gets in on the fight, and he has a very tragic end, which is he's a droid. He doesn't exist, so to see that was interesting. I also loved Donnie Yen's character. I thought he was great, and that he clearly was Force sensitive or had something to do with the Force, and I loved how he was very philosophical in the way he talked and how he was able to tap into things and give some insight. But even as awesome as Donnie Yen was, and his martial arts obviously was phenomenal, I really, really, one of my favorite characters was Wen Jiang's character. Let me get this right, Baz Malbus. And he was his best buddy and basically brother. And he was the interpreter for all the weird things he would do. And I really loved him. And he was the one with basically the huge gun. Just awesome. I loved his character. He was like the down-to-earth straight man to Chirrut Imwe, which I'm sure I'm saying that wrong, Donnie Yen's character. So I really appreciated those two. And their end. Again, that's what's awesome about this movie, is that you don't ever see these characters again, and there's a reason why. And those two, the brothers, partners, just their ending was tragic, and that's the way I guess it needed to be. Yeah, it really did need to be, now that I say that. And then we have Bodhi Rook, the Imperial captain, Imperial pilot, who defects and then joins the rogues. And at first you're like, oh, really? Okay. And he didn't necessarily have a major heavy role, but he was a major part of the team, and then he actually named the team Rogue One, and he was the one that got the data plans to be able to be beamed up to the Alliance as the shield was in place. So again, the Rogue team was fantastic. Thoroughly enjoyed the movie. I'm sad that we won't ever see this team again. Like, one of the great things about Guardians of the Galaxy was we get that team together, they succeed, and now we can see them again. Well, Rogues, we're not going to ever see Rogue One again. They are gone. I mean, we can replay the movie, and that's about it. But some other characters that were just fantastic, and this one I really like because they brought it from continuity in the animation, the Clone Wars. Saw Gerrera, played by Forest Whitaker. Obviously, Forest Whitaker is amazing, but seeing him as the one who raised Jyn and taught her to be, militaristic and martial arts and all that, but then just the breakaway of reality, and that he had to leave her behind, her being 16-year-old and not understanding, why would you do that? How could you do that? You abandoned me. And then having to come together again. From what I've read, again, from the trailers, there's more to that story that got taken out. Not sure what it was. I'd love to learn more. I really hope Disney releases those deleted scenes, or maybe even a second version of the movie, the original cut, just to see what it was and what they were telling and why they changed it. I'm not sure they will. If George Lucas was still in charge, we would never see that. But hopefully with this, we can see the deleted scenes at least. We get Bail Organa back. Jimmy Smits, fantastic. I don't know about everybody else in the theater, but when he's like, well, I have to go back to Alderaan and let them know that we're not going to be at peace. I'm like, no, whatever you do, do not go. Well, obviously he's a goner. But he first alludes to having to draw his daughter into the fray. when Mon Mothma, who once again played by let me get her name right here, Guinevere O'Reilly, who played her in Revenge of the Sith, um, talks to her about, well, maybe we need to contact your general friend. He's like, well, I have a trusted person that I could, and we obviously know it's Princess Leia, which is awesome. General Dodonna is in this film too. This is the one character I caught that obviously was portrayed by a new person, originally played by Alex McDrindle, and he was old in A New Hope. So I'm looking at this guy and going, man, this guy looks familiar, and it's Ian McKinney. I'm probably saying that wrong. Ian McKelney, but I'm like, God, that guy looks familiar. Well, it's Barristan Selmy from Game of Thrones, and I was awesome to see him. And it wasn't like it was jarring because I don't exactly remember what General Dodonna looked like until I watched The New Hope. But it was interesting to see him come back and that character come back. And everybody's fan favorite for Star Wars, Warwick Davis is back, and I'm going to say this one wrong too. Weitz Cub, an interesting character, looks like a mad fellow, but he's joined the fray, just going around taking people out, which was cool to see him. Very action packed. So a lot of cameos, a lot of Easter eggs. I know there's more. Yes, this is spoiler filled. And please, in the comments below, let me know more. I want to hear it. I want to hear what you guys have to say, because I really, really, really enjoyed this movie. I know on second viewing I was a little, so I'll say there's going to be a third viewing and we'll see. But I just felt like that ending battle was so amazing. And to see, we had to say goodbye to a lot of people that we really fell in love with over the course of the movie. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Thoroughly enjoyed it. Can't wait to see it again. Rogue One, A Star Wars Story.